Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Are you with us?
I am, Mr. Vella. How are you?
I'm doing well. The time is 10 a.m. The meeting's recording, and it appears that we do have a quorum. I see both Commissioner Feinstein and Commissioner Carpio on the call.
Perfect. Let's kick things off. I hereby call to order this meeting of the Arizona Boxing and Mixed Martial Arts Commission. Today is Wednesday, April 16th, 2025, and the time is 10 a.m. Would those commissioners that are in attendance please identify themselves and state as to whether they are here via telephone, Google Meets, or in person?
This is Eric Feinstein. I'm here via Google Meets.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. This is Xavier Carpio, and I'm here through Google Meets.
Thank you, commissioners. I am Scott Fletcher. I am here via telephone. Thank you all for joining. Item B is our new business. B1 is pursuant to ARS sections 5-227, 5-228, and AAC R19-2-C604 for persons over the age of 38. The new license application submitted by Miss Adriana Burciaga for a 2025 amateur MMA combatant license. Mr. Bello, will you speak to Miss Burciaga's application, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Burciaga is 39 years old, and she is 1-0 as an amateur MMA combatant. She last competed August 26th of 24 and won by unanimous decision. Her training regimen, she's detailed out for me. She said her training sessions total up to 6 to 7 hours daily with 1 day off during the week. She trains 6 days a week, 2 sparring days a week, 3 times a week. She does hot yoga. She runs 4 days a week for an hour. She does 12 hours of jiu-jitsu each week, 5 hours of drilling, kickboxing, and Muay Thai each week, and strength and conditioning twice a week. She feels excited about her upcoming bout, and she said she feels ready because that's what she trains so much for. And she has not experienced any injuries recently. With all of that, sir, I recommend her approval.
Thank you, Mr. Vella. And as I've said before, your deep dive on these fighters is so helpful as far as their conditioning and the like. So thank you for that. Commissioners, thoughts, questions regarding this application?
No questions.
None for me, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Chair be open to motion if one exists.
Mr. Chairman, pursuant to ARS 5-227, 5-228, and AAC R19-2-C604, I move that we approve the new license application submitted by Ms. Adriana Burciaga for a 2025 amateur MMA combatant license.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Congratulations to Ms. Burciaga. Let's press on to B2, which is also pursuant to ARS sections 5-227, 5-228, and AAC R19-2-C604 for persons over the age of 38. The new license application submitted by Mr. Alonzo Alexander for a 2025 professional MMA combatant license. Mr. Vella, we speak to Mr. Alexander's application.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Alexander is 42 years old. He has an amateur MMA record of 3-0, so this would be his professional debut. And he says he feels very confident in his upcoming bout and that he's ready to compete as a professional because this is what he's trained so hard for. His training sessions are usually 2 hours, 6 days a week. He spars 1 day, he does cardio every day, and weight training 5 days a week. And again, he says he feels prepared because he's trained so hard for it. In addition to obviously these statements, I've observed Mr. Alexander compete in 2 of his 3 bouts, and I do think he's ready for the professional ranks. And with that, I do recommend his approval.
Perfect. Thank you. Commissioners, any thoughts or questions regarding this application?
Yeah, what was the outcome of his last fight?
He won in the first round via submission by guillotine.
Okay. No other questions for me.
Thank
No
you,
question.
Commissioner.
No questions.
Okay. Chair would be open to motion if we have one.
Mr. Chairman, pursuant to ARS 5-227, 5-228, and AAC R19-2-C604, I move that we approve the new license application submitted by Mr. Alonzo Alexander for a 2025 MMA combatant license.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Congratulations to Mr. Alexander. Item B3 is pursuant to ARS sections 5-227, 5-228, and AAC R19-2-C604 for persons over the age of 38. The new license application submitted by Mr. Andrew Hernandez for a 2025 professional boxer license. Mr. Vella, let's talk about Mr. Hernandez.
Mr. Chairman, just one brief note before that. I want to mention for the record that AAG Val Marciano is present with me in the office. She's not on camera now, but she is here just for the record. Now, as for Mr. Hernandez, Mr. Hernandez is 39 years old, and he has a professional record of 21-9. His last bout was October 12th of 2024, and he lost by split decision. A relatively close split decision. And so as far as his training regimen, he trains 1 to 2 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week. He spars 2 to 3 times a week, usually 8 to 12 rounds. He does strength and conditioning 2 to 3 times a week for 1 to 2 hours. And he does running and cardio 4 to 5 times a week, usually 3 to 5 miles. He feels very confident for his upcoming bout. He's happy for the opportunity, if granted, to compete for the Arizona state title. He says he feels prepared to compete because the way he's been training, his last fight was 12 rounds, and still feels like he's continuing to get better all the time. He has not experienced any recent injuries. With all of that said, sir, I do recommend his approval.
Thank you, Mr. Vella. Commissioners, thoughts about Mr. Hernandez's application? Questions?
No questions.
No questions for me.
Okay, none here as well. Chair would be open to a motion if one exists.
Mr. Chairman, pursuant to ARS 5-227, 5-228, and AAC R19-2-C604, I move that we approve the new license application submitted by Mr. Andrew Hernandez for a 2025 professional boxer license.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Congratulations to Mr. Hernandez. And yet we're not quite done with him. Item 4, he is a central figure in. Pursuant to AAC R19-2-B602, the request for an 8-round professional boxing light heavyweight state championship contest submitted by Iron Boy Combat Sports LLC between Sergio Leon Rodriguez and Andrew Hernandez on Saturday, April 19th, 2025. Mr. Vella, please speak to this.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I do want to state that with this request, there are 2 essential deviations that I think are important to mention here. While stated on the agenda, it does say 8-round. That was the initial proposal, but the promotion has requested a 10-round bout, given Mr. Hernandez's past record of competing in higher level, more rounds, 12 rounds, and so on for title fights. And so that is one request ultimately. And then in addition to that, there's another deviation from the standard policy, which is not the rules. The rules don't necessarily say this, but we do have kind of an internal guideline, so to speak. And typically, the requirement is that a combatant has an 80% win record overall. Mr. Hernandez does not necessarily have an 80% win record overall. And the other condition is that they had won their last 2 bouts. In this case, he did lose his last bout by split decision. Given that, I've reviewed both of their records very extensively, and with his past experience in multiple title fights, and also with Mr. Rodriguez's experience, I do believe that they have demonstrated an ability that would not be inconsistent for a 10-round state championship contest. I do not think that Mr. Hernandez's lack of the 80% win record overall necessarily disqualifies him. And so I would make a recommendation that this is approved, but open to the commission's consideration.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Vella. Yeah, I'm excited about this. I love these state championship contests. As pertains to Mr. Hernandez, he hasn't missed anyone. I think Caleb Plant's on his resume and a number of others. He's been in with some very big names over the course of his career. Mr. Villa, if there were to be a motion, you would like us to include 10 rounds and the other stipulations you spoke about?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I would think that it'd be appropriate to approve the request for 8 or 10 rounds to give room for any changes or negotiations they may have with the promotion. And that way we don't lock ourselves in and not be able to adjust it given the short timeline. This event is taking place this Saturday.
Okay, fair enough. Commissioners, what are your thoughts concerning this?
No questions for me.
Yeah, no concerns for me. I appreciate Mr. Vella's thoroughness in making sure that these state championship contests are, worthy of the state belt, and that they're competitive bouts, and that the winner would be worthy of holding the title, so that it actually does mean something. I think in this case, the due diligence makes sense given the resumes of these fighters, and so no further questions from me.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. The chair would be open to a carefully crafted motion if someone would like to take a stab at it.
I'll try that, Mr. Chairman.
Perfect.
Pursuant to AAC R19 2B602, I move that we approve the 8-round to or up to 10-round professional boxing light heavyweight state championship contest submitted by Iron Boy Combat Sports between Sergio Leon Rodriguez and Andrew Hernandez on Saturday, April 19th, 2025.
Perfect. Nicely done, Commissioner. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 3-0. I'm excited about this one. These are always fun nights, and the crowd loves having belts on the line too. So this will be a good one. Looking forward to it. I will be there, by the way. Hopefully, Commissioner Carpio, you said you might be there. It'd be nice to shake your hand if you can do it.
I will be there.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Let's press on to see our information report. C1 regards Team Combat League. A special meeting will be scheduled in the near future to review and take possible action on the following items. The first is pursuant to AAC R19-2-D601A, a request by Team Combat League LLLP for approval by the Commission to alter AAC R19-2-D602H1F, along with any other alterations that may be appropriate. And the second request is pursuant to AAC R19-2-D601B, a request by Team Combat League LLLP for special approval by the Commission regarding time between bouts. Mr. Vella, hopefully we can have this special meeting fairly soon to get things sorted. I think they have a date in May coming up, don't they?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. And so we are exploring availability of an independent advisor, which will be necessary for the commission. And as soon as we have an availability date, I'll circulate to each commissioner to schedule a special meeting.
Okay. Yeah, please do. We try and be as malleable as possible, but we're also bound by our statute and rules too. So any alterations, we're going to have to kick the tires on pretty carefully. I like their format. Mr. Vella, are you familiar with this format? Did they really bring 48 fighters to an event?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. And actually, a representative of Team Combat League has raised his hand. Mr. Mike McKeon.
Yes.
Commissioner,
Hello.
one moment, Chairman, if you'd like to recognize the gentleman who's raised his hand.
Yes, please. Please,
Chairman
we'd
and
love to hear from you
Commissioners.
if you can.
Yeah, Chairman and Commissioners, I'd like to thank you for your time today. I'm speaking on behalf of Team Combat League, and I have its president, Dewey Cooper, with us as well. One of the alterations that we're seeking is to reduce the 3 knockdown rule down to a 2 knockdown rule. Team Combat League is a team-based sport that is seeking not only traditional boxing enthusiasts, but mainstream audience as well. We give opportunity to 16 fighters on each team. In this instance, there's a team, the Phoenix Fury, that's composed of 12 male athletes, 4 female athletes. They fight across a series of weight classes in events spread throughout the season, and it follows like an NFL or NBA model. One of the reasons we reduced the 3 knockdown rule down to 2 knockdowns is, again, we're seeking a more mainstream audience, not necessarily a hardcore boxing audience. We understand that there's an entire season, so we don't want to be short-sighted on any individual event. So if somebody is knocked down 2 times during any given round, we would respectfully request to have the special meeting for purposes of having our rule implemented that would allow that to be the end of the round. These rules have been accepted already in the states of Pennsylvania, Georgia, California, Texas, Tennessee, Florida, and by the Foxwoods Tribal Council. The other thing we'd be requesting is for the time in between rounds, we have a unique format where we start out round 1, 118-pound female bantamweight Phoenix against a 118-pound female from Philadelphia. They fight 1 round, 3 minutes. They leave the round. They leave the ring. It's then followed by a 126-pound male from Phoenix versus a 126-pound male from Philadelphia. We go up sequentially across a series of weight classes for the first 16 rounds. The last 8 rounds of the bout are called the money rounds. These rounds are submitted to the commission well in advance in compliance with the statutes, but they allow for the money fighters, the top tier fighters from earlier in the card to return for 1 additional round of 3 minutes. On no occasion does any fighter fight for more than 2 rounds for a total of 6 minutes. So we just like to have the opportunity to have a fighter that fought 1 round of 3 minutes in either the launch or the middle rounds to be able to come back for 1 additional round of 3 minutes in the money rounds, with the understanding that they would then be subject to the minimum 5-day rest period set forth in the statute. That would be the sum and substance of the variances that we'd be seeking at the special meeting. And I would sincerely thank you for your time in hearing us out today.
No, thank you. We appreciate
Mr.
the
Chairman, I'd just like to
information.
correct
Yes.
one thing, and Mike, I apologize, but he cited as a statute, and I believe it's in rule.
My apologies.
No worries. Thanks for cleaning that up, Mr. Vella. I like the concept. More to come. And again, Mr. Vella, if you could kick the tires on this thing and get us a meeting scheduled here, as sooner is better than later, I think.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, commissioners, stand by. We'll be getting back together here, the next couple of weeks, it looks like, to walk through this. Let's press on to C2, which is the Tucson ambulance discussion. Representatives of Rise Combat Sports LLC and medical professionals from Tucson, Arizona wish to present this item to the commission. The following item may appear on a future agenda for review and possible action by the commission. Pursuant to AAC R19-2-D601N3F, a request by Rise Combat Sports for a partial waiver of the paramedic ambulance requirements specified under AAC R19-2-D601N3A through E. Mr. Vella, who's with us from Rise?
So, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Allison Lane is with us, along with some other folks who wish to speak to this matter. And just as a reminder for the commission, Dr. Lane is one of our ringside physicians. And I'd just like to give some context here. A couple of weeks ago, I was approached by this group to discuss this matter. And we did have a meeting in which they presented some of this information to me. And I suggested that it was a good idea to share this in a public meeting so that the commission could not only listen and discuss the matter, but also open it to if the public had any questions or concerns as well. So I believe Dr. Lane is here and ready to speak, if that's okay, Mr. Chairman.
That is absolutely okay. Welcome, Doctor. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Thanks for having me. So I also want to say I don't have any ties necessarily to RISE, aside from having covered events with them here in Tucson. But I am a physician at Banner in Tucson here, working in emergency medicine, sports medicine, and with our EMS division. So I do feel like there is quite a bit of overlap here that I can help with in this area. So in terms of EMS transport and coverage, I really can only speak to the Tucson area right at this time, just because this is where I've collected the data from, though I'm sure this can apply elsewhere. And what I would propose is potentially a change in EMS coverage, or at least a trial in the Tucson area. First, I'll mention the specific changes that I would propose and then go into specifics about it and why. So I would suggest potentially covering EMT, and then also staffing with EMS with mandatory equipment that is proposed without an ambulance on site if the 911 response time in the area is less than 10 minutes. I think especially having EMT coverage would be acceptable if you have a ringside doc who is EM or trauma trained. Essentially, we can assist with that portion of it and make decisions and use the EMS there to help assist us as well. In addition, this is to me the biggest portion of it, I think, is requiring an ambulance on site. So it is highly unlikely that we use the ambulance on site for transport. It's pretty rare. I personally have not been involved in any coverage, combat sport coverage, where we've used the ambulance on site, because then that also means that you cannot continue the event until a new crew comes. And I do actually truly appreciate the optics of this being in the field that we're in, but really I want this to be truly just about fighter safety and what is needed. Ultimately, 911 is still going to be called regardless of an ambulance being on site for the most part. In addition, in Tucson, AMR is the only agency that we can use for coverage that has the CON, the Certificate of Necessity for Transport. So it does make it really challenging when you want to promote growth in our smaller community here of the sport, but then prices go up and it just makes it challenging to continue that. So my suggestion would be to consider EMS coverage with mandatory equipment that we proposed without an on-site ambulance if that response time is less than 10 minutes. The event that we have coming up at the Rialto, we have 5 stations that will be less than 9-minute transport, and that's just based on Google Maps without using regular driving times, even without code 3. But there is even the main station, Tucson Fire Station 1, is actually less than a mile away from the Rialto. And while there isn't necessarily a universally accepted response time, you can look at different studies in terms of patient safety, and departments and communities are really able to implement their own response criteria. Most of the time, we're going to say in urban settings, it's going to be 8 to 10 minutes. I looked up, there was a 2024 memorandum to the Pima County Board of Supervisors regarding fire and EMS response times. And it showed data from Tucson Fire Department arrival, and 93% of the time it was within 10 minutes. There actually wasn't a breakdown in response times for percentages less than 10 minutes. It just didn't include it. It only included 10 minutes and more. But I could say that it is likely much less than 10 minutes in the majority of times, since we have so many stations so close. And I think that was all that I had to say right now, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Doctor. We've had some great events with RISE in Tucson. I think the commission has an awful lot of experience with Tucson too. I think all three of us actually attended the U of A at one point. Am I right, Commissioner Carpio? Weren't you there too?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that's correct.
So we all have fond memories and know the town well. And I think it's a great fight town. I think we do great things there. But I appreciate your thoughts. You know, one of the real strengths we have is a longtime ringside physician on the commission too. Commissioner Feinstein, what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly an interesting proposal, and I appreciate Dr. Lane bringing it forward. I think this is a decision that I think we ought to make with some data. I think I don't know, Mr. Vella, if the commission keeps statistics on how often we've used the on-site ambulance, but I know from personal experience, you know, over a decade as a ringside physician, there were a number of circumstances where we did use the on-site ambulance to take athletes to the trauma center and in Phoenix, and including some really high-profile ones from the UFC, which I think you know, the optics are really important there as well. I think this is a conversation that Dr. Oda, as the chief ringside physician, ought to be involved in. And I also, you know, appreciate that it's an expensive proposition, and if it's not improving fighter safety, we ought to reconsider. I do, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, you don't need it until you need it. And there's, you know, a recent Nigerian boxer that died in the ring, and you know, when that kind of situation arises, you'd be, I think, a lot more secure as a ringside physician if there's an ambulance waiting in the dock there already. But I think it's worth discussing, and I think your point about transport times is really arrival times is really relevant. We do a lot of events on the reservation and other places where I'm not so sure that 10 minutes would be feasible. But then it puts the commission in this little bit precarious situation of trying to figure out, like, is it under 10 minutes in this venue? Is it not? So I think it warrants a much more extensive discussion with a little bit of data, but I'm open to all ideas. I think especially you know, given that every venue might be a little bit different. But I think it's certainly worthy of consideration.
Thank you, Commissioner. Fighter safety is critical to us, of course. I don't know how much wiggle room we have. We'll have to do a deep dive into our statutes and rules as well. Commissioner Carpio, any thoughts?
So I just to be clear, is this just something that's being proposed in Tucson? And if we do Tucson, are we not supposed to do other events? That's just why are we going to carve that out? It just seems a little, I mean, if we're going to do it, we should do it for everyone, not just Tucson, and the cost. And I also would like to know the cost and so forth.
Yeah, well said. That's a real issue. And as Commissioner Feinstein said, it's if we do open this can of worms, it's a case-by-case basis based on where the event is and what response times look like, et cetera. I think what I'd love to do is get further discussion, maybe get Dr. Oda involved, try and look at what kind of wiggle room we might have. Do you know, Mr. Vella, is ambulance built directly into our rules? Do we have any wiggle room at all?
Mr. Chairman, I think it's something that'd be worth a closer analysis, and any legal advice in that matter would need to be discussed in an executive session.
Fair enough. Okay. And I know they have an event coming up, I think it was May 17th. So shortly they have one coming up. I can't guarantee answers by then, but let's put it on this. What about this next special meeting? Can we put this on there as well?
Mr. Chairman, just one note, Jen Richardson, the matchmaker for Rise Combat Sports, is here, and she has her hand raised. So I don't know if you wanted to recognize her at this time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Vella. Yes, Ms. Richardson, please join us.
Hi, how are you? Thank you. I just wanted to open it up because we do, if he wants to say anything, I do have Dr. Albino, who sits on Southern Arizona. He's a medical director on the board for SEAMS. And that's in charge of like the EMS regulations and stuff. But I also wanted to add that what makes Tucson unique, and Dr. Lane touched on it, is we pay, and I've checked with other promoters, we pay about double for an ambulance in Tucson than they do in Phoenix, because Phoenix is able to get all tons of private companies, and they're all, but we're not allowed that. And just this year again, EMS for AMR has raised its prices another $50 an hour. And if you've been to my show, the scene is about two 22-year-olds sitting on the ring watching the fights while I have a full staff of doctors, and I have what people tell me is one of the best paramedics in the state of Arizona ringside that I hire on my own. And I would not want to send my kid or a fighter into that ambulance with these great medical people on my ring, who also have told me that it takes time to quote unquote package the person. Even if they're unconscious, they're not just going to throw them into an ambulance. You know what I mean? They're going to treat them on site. So I just wanted to open it up. If Dr. Albino, you wanted to say anything.
Yes, doctor, please.
Hi, thank you, Jen. Just to introduce myself, I'm Manny Albino. I'm one of the I'm an ER doc here in Tucson for almost 20 years now, and I do some EMS work. I sit on the medical directors committee, and have for over a decade. I guess the only thing I would sort of add to what Allison presented, which was really a great a bit of information about I think how changing things could really improve safety for the fighters primarily, which I think is really all of our interest. I myself, I'm not a promoter. I have no personal interest in the business. Just only care really about the fighter safety as a fight fan as well. But I would say just a bit of information about how the system works in Tucson is that we have a two-tiered system. We have when one calls 911, TFD is the first responder, and they are the only ALS transport. The only company that can provide additional services that can contract, a promoter like Jen can contract, is with AMR, and AMR only does a BLS transport. So just thinking about as a provider, if there was a patient that needed to be transported to our trauma center here in Tucson, AMR would not even be a transporter primarily for the types of injuries that would need to be transported, right? Because we're talking about trauma. And so, you know, if a patient were unconscious and unresponsive, if a patient were actively seizing, if a patient were paralyzed, for instance, AMR would not transport those patients. Those patients would have to be transported by TFD. So just sort of backing up the concept that there's not maybe less value in actual in the service that AMR can actually provide, understanding the optics, but you know, truly what they would provide in the situation of a truly injured patient in the ring, what they would actually provide is pretty limited.
That's very helpful, doctor. I appreciate you taking the time. Dr. Feinstein, thoughts?
Yeah, again, I think that the differences in the municipalities are noted, and I think I think it warrants further discussion, particularly around even what the statute allows in terms of the commission's ability to make exceptions to this rule or change this rule. I defer to counsel on that. So I'd look forward to being educated and, maybe we arrive at some sort of exception on a case-by-case basis, or maybe we have to change the rules. I don't know, but I think it warrants further discussion, and certainly with the help of some data.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you. And all of you doctors, thank you for your time. This is a very interesting situation, and one we will address here pretty soon. Mr. Vella, let's make sure this is out in front of us and we get a chance to revisit this if you can.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. And just so I understand, would you like to see this posted to the action agenda for a future meeting, or should we keep it in the information reports in a future meeting?
We want to discuss it for sure, and we've got to do some research, I think, prior. So discussion and possible action. How's that sound?
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you all. This is a very interesting situation, and we will, as quickly as possible, start digging on this thing. Appreciate your time.
Hello, sorry. I had
Item
a
C.
test.
Yeah.
Hello. I had
Yes.
a test exam right now in this meeting. I don't know if I joined the right meeting and sent me this here.
I think you're in the wrong meeting. Mr.
The
Vella,
wrong
we're not
meeting?
testing anyone, are we?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. This individual may be speaking of a virtual concussion test. Is that what type of
Yeah.
test you're looking to do? Okay, yes. Please double check the link that was sent to you.
Well,
And you may-
this is the link that they sent me. That's the only
Okay.
way I can get to this meeting is by the link that they send me and the
Okay,
numbers. they give.
I'm going to defer you to Irania Felix, who could assist you with this matter. So if you
Yes.
would contact her, would you like the number?
Please, yeah. I've been
Six-
listening to you guys the whole time. I don't even know why.
six-
But I didn't want to interrupt. I'm sorry. What's the number?
602
602
364
364
1721 1721.
21.
Correct.
So I call her and do the meeting.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that's a first. We haven't had one of those yet, so that's always exciting. Hopefully he finds his way to the right spot. Let's go to C3, global rule set discussion. The commission may vote to go into executive session for the purpose of obtaining legal advice from its attorney on this matter. Any such executive session will not be open to the public and may be conducted in a separate meeting. Commissioners, is there a desire to go into executive session? Talk about the global rule set.
Yes, I would prefer to do that.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Carpio, if we go into executive session, there's another set of phone numbers you're going to need. I don't know if you got those in an email and you're familiar with getting out of this session and into that one.
I will figure that out.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Commissioner Carpio, just for context, it's the invite. You accepted it yesterday. It's labeled executive session. So
Thank
it is
you.
a different link. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Vella.
Okay, perfect. We just need a motion to go to an executive session then.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we go to the executive session.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion. Is there a second?
There's a second, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. We are out of the regular meeting and we're going to reconvene momentarily in the executive session. I'll see you all then.
Mr. Chairman, are you with us?
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Very good. Yes, sir. It appears
Sorry
that
about
the
that.
other commissioners are with us as well. You do have a quorum.
Very good. Thank you. We're back in a regular session. We've just concluded C3, our discussion of the global rule set, and we move on to D, our call to the public. Mr. Bella, is there anyone in the public who'd like to chat with us?
I will review. I do not see any hands raised this time, sir.
Okay, very good. Let's go to E, our call to the commission. Commission members or the executive director may introduce a summary of current events, ask questions, and or make comments. Mr. Bella, anything additional you'd like to talk about?
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to say that we do have 4 events coming up over the next few weeks. And so this weekend we have Iron Boy Boxing. Next weekend, on next Saturday, April 26th, is Rough MMA at Celebrity Theater. The following Friday, on May 2nd, is UFL at the Westworld in Scottsdale. And then on May 17th is Rise MMA, Rise of the Prospects down in Tucson at the Rialto Theater.
Yeah, we're very popular. Fantastic. We have very few opening dates going forward, it looks like. So it's nice to be liked, I guess. And thank you for all your efforts, you and Arania. Commissioners, Mr. Feinstein, anything you'd like to talk about?
No, nothing from me, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Carpio, anything?
Nothing for me, Mr. Chairman. Look forward to meeting you this Saturday.
Yeah, it's the Iron Boy events are always fun. Good raucous crowd and some great fights. So I'm looking forward to that as well. I too have nothing else to divulge, which pushes us into F, an announcement that the next regularly scheduled commission meeting will be held virtually via Google Meets at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, May 21st, 2025. It is subject to change based on a quorum. Item G is adjournment. Is there a motion for such?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, I second.
We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. We are adjourned. Thank you all. Ms. Marciano, thank you. All of you, thank you for your time and efforts here. Good things to come. Take care.
Thank you.